Hi loves, it's Lacey, and today we are going to be doing some DIYs with my brand new Cricut Joy. This video is being sponsored by Cricut. I want to thank them for sending me the Cricut Joy and the EasyPress too. The Joy is Cricut's premier compact smart cutting machine. And it is perfect for anyone who has limited space for crafting or loves to craft on the go. As you can see, Cricut has made a carry case for it, so you can pick that up, and it even has a spot in the back of it for the tools that go along with the Joy. I love the size of this machine. It fits anywhere in any space, and right out of the box, you will notice there are no buttons or knobs on the Cricut Joy. That is because you use this machine via Bluetooth with your desktop, laptop, your tablet, or your smartphone. I am going to be using it with my laptop and with my smartphone when I use it on the go. This machine is so smart that it is equipped with two sensors in it that, number one, it levels out your materials that you put in there and makes sure they feed in there correctly, and number two, it measures it so you have the right amount of material for every project and you do not waste any of your materials at any time. And it cuts over 50 different materials with this machine. It is equipped right out of the box also with the fine point blade, and they give you a standard mat, a little black pen, and some materials which are cardstock and a sample vinyl just to get you started. This machine is really easy to hook up. You simply plug it in, download the app of Design Space from Cricut, and you are ready to go. As you can see, with it open, you can see the fine point blade is already in there. It's easily removable, so you can place in the pen if you're going to write with the machine instead of cut with the machine. It only has one slot, and that is perfect for this machine. So let's make something with the Cricut Joy. I have here the supplies we're going to need. I have some removable vinyl. We're going to be using the color teal. I have the transfer tape that you're going to use to put that vinyl onto the piece of glass you see there in the back. I thrifted that, and the wood that's next to it I had left over from another project. I also have some Dollar Tree products to go along with it, and some of Cricut's deluxe paper that we're going to be making something really nice. It has an adhesive back and you can use it like a sticker. So I've opened Design Space here, as you can see, and I decided to search for the word welcome. I like this one here, so this is the one we're going to make. It's already there for you to use. So I just clicked make it, and it automatically asks me, do I want to put this on a mat, or do I need to not put it on a mat? Well, I am going to be using Cricut's Smart Vinyl, so we don't use a mat for that one. I load it into my machine, and it lets me pick which material, and we're going to do removable Smart Vinyl. We're going to click that, and then it's going to tell me it's ready for me to load my material into my machine. So here we go with my Smart Vinyl. It has a thicker backing on the back, so there's no need for a mat. It pushes the material in to measure to make sure I have enough, like I said before, and then immediately it starts to cut. I love how in Design Space it'll show you the progress of your material when it starts to cut it, and then when it's all done, it'll tell you exactly when you need to unload it. This is the perfect no think, no worry kind of machine to craft with, and I am loving the Cricut Joy. The Joy is Cricut's. So as you can see, once your materials are done being cut, it goes to 100%, and then the machine will tell you when it is time to unload your material. Even if it has a mat, it'll let you know. And then you're going to simply remove the excess vinyl off of your materials. so you can see what your design is. Now this step is called weeding, and I'm doing it here by hand. Most of the projects that you can do with Cricut Joy, you can weed by hand, but the tools that I showed you earlier do come in handy if you have some smaller pieces or something's getting stuck on you. So I'm just using my long fingernails to pull out the excess vinyl in the E, up in the top of the L, and the O, and there you have it. You can see it says welcome. Then I took some of the transfer tape that Cricut has and I put it on top of it, and I'm going to take this scraper tool that they have here and make sure that the transfer tape adheres down to my word so I can pick the vinyl up easily and transfer it onto the glass that I have here. And if it's not going to pick up easily, you can just put it right back down and use the scraper tool some more, or like I'm doing here, pull it a little bit further away and I use my fingernail to get it started, and then it's coming off nice and easy. Once you have your whole project pulled up on the transfer tape, then you'll be able to transfer it to whatever you're putting it on. Removable vinyl is very easy and will go on a ton of different materials. I'm using glass for this, but you could put it on wood, you can put it on plastic, you can put it on a painted material as well. There's so many possibilities with this vinyl. So here I am, and I'm just trying to judge exactly where I want it. I know this project looks a little small for this piece of glass, but believe me, you guys know how extra I am. So I am going to be utilizing all that extra space on this glass to do something more to it once I have the vinyl all adhere. So I'm going to use my scraper tool here again and make sure that I get this adhered down really, really well. I'm just going over it, not too harshly, because it transfers really easy on its own. And then we're going to pull the tape off, and as you see, I have it all stuck down. Now there was a couple of little spots that started to pull up, but pressing it down with my bare fingers, it works out really, really well. And there we have it. Now, I'm also going to use a piece of this deluxe paper. It has an adhesive back, so basically it's like a big sticker. I did the same process and I cut out a few butterflies. Now, this paper is kind of thick and it had to be cut on a mat, and so I am working my way with just taking the sticker right off of it. I do believe it was such an intricate, detailed piece that it tried to cut all the way through the paper on me, and this is the first time I used it. I think with more practice I'll get better at it, but I ended up picking up the entire sticker. It's little butterflies, as you can see, so I just stuck them right on the glass. There's no need for transfer tape for this one because it does have an adhesive back, and I pulled that right off and stuck it to it. Now I have some fairy garden pieces and some florals from Dollar Tree. We are going to be decorating all the way around this in like a little bit of a fairy garden theme. My granddaughter Adrienne loves fairies and fairy gardens, so I thought I'd do this welcome sign kind of for her. I knew she would love it, and with the colors and everything that Cricut has out right now for spring, these go perfectly. So I'm going to be gluing, as you just saw, the two fairies down on either side, and then I'm taking a full bunch of these kind of spring florals that our Dollar Tree finally got in this year, and I'm going to glue them to this one side of this sign. I kind of bent the stem a little and actually used hot Gorilla Glue with my Ryobi glue gun and glued it to the side of this, and then I'm going to fold them up and across, trying not to cover up the welcome sign. It has wire in them, the florals, so you can bend them around once you get them on there any kind of way you want. I took an extra bunch and peeled off a couple of extra pieces, and I'm going to tuck them in to make it look a whole lot fuller. Now I'm simply taking this little house front. It's kind of like the door to a house that Dollar Tree carried last year. I had in my stash. I had painted it more with purples last year, and so this one, I do believe the colors were more reds and stuff, but I glued it to the front of the sign over the stem so it would hide the stem and the fairies would have somewhere to go into. And then of course the fairy on the other side needed a little greenery and some florals by her, so I'm adding a few there as well. And there's a little divot in my glass at the top. It is thrifted and I didn't like it, so I'm going to add a couple little flowers up there too because it seems a little bare in that section anyway. And then this whole project will be done. I just love how this project turned out. The purple butterflies I am in love with the little floral print in the back. And the teal vinyl is the perfect color to go along with this fairy theme. And of course, the Cricut Joy made it all happen, and it was quick and easy to do. Moving on to project number 2, let's make a forever bag. You know, a bag you take to the grocery store so you don't have to get plastic bags all the time. For this, we're going to use the EasyPress 2, the EasyPress matte. We have some holographic vinyl. I'm so excited about that. I also had some iron-on there, but I didn't end up using it. And I have a tote bag that came from Target's Dollar Spot. I've had this in my stash forever. Cricut does have tote bags, however, if you're looking to make this. Now, this time, I made my design myself, all by myself. I thought it'd be really cute if I could put on the one side of my bag the word yay. I remember to bring my bag because there's a lot of times I don't remember to bring my bag. And I made this design in Photoshop. I have Photoshop and it's very, very easy. It's all words basically, and then a little bit of an outline of a grocery basket and a grocery bag on there. And of course we had to have a little emoji. So what I'm doing here is I uploaded these. They're kind of like a photo file or a text file into Cricut Design Space, and now I'm just loading them in and sizing them down to make sure they're going to fit on my project. Now you'll see right here I have the I remember to bring my bag with the little emoji and the grocery cart part all sized correctly. But when I go to make it, it'll say that the yay is just too big to use on the Cricut Joy. And so I will have to resize that down again. That's the beauty of this. It will let you know if you have the wrong size on whatever machine you're using for the materials that you need to use it. So after we get it all sized properly, here we go. We're going to size down that yay because it's a little too tall. So we're going to make it a little shorter, but then I'm going to make it a little wider by unlocking it and stretching it out just a bit and then putting it back so it will fit on my bag with no problem, and the Joy will be able to cut it out. Once we get all that done, we're just going to hit the make it mark on this just like we did with our welcome sign, and it will print it all out. And what's great about this is the materials that I'm using is longer than the material that I use on my welcome sign, and this one doesn't need a mat either, so it's going to cut it out of one piece of material, and Cricut will line it up for you. So I had it in different order, in the order basically I'm going to put it in the bag, but they put it in a better order for cutting it out, and it works just perfectly. Also, you'll have to remember that when you're doing iron-on for anything, you need to mirror your project. And so I didn't show you that I clicked the mirror button, but over on the side, underneath where it shows my mat, there's a little button and it says mirror your project. It will cut it out so that when you iron it on, it will be facing the right direction so you can read it. So what I did is I selected the material that I wanted to use, and now it says load it in your machine. And so I loaded it in my machine and had it all cut out, and here it is. And now we're going to start weeding it. So this is really crazy kind of material to work with. I mean, it's fine. I love it. I just didn't know how I was supposed to load it in the machine at first. So I investigated so I can tell you guys that you load this into your machine shiny side down for it to be cut, because one side is shiny and then the other side is kind of matte. And so you do it shiny side down. And this is really, really easy to weed. Unlike vinyl, the holographic vinyl does not stick to itself. So this is coming off in one big sheet, and I'm just pulling it and it's not sticking to my skin and it's not sticking to itself. So I love that about this material, and I love exactly how it looks. I just struggled for a little second to know which way to put it in my machine. So shiny side down in your machine, and then you can pull it all off in one big sheet, except for the little inner parts, which you have to weed out, and you can use your weeding tool or you can use your fingers like I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start off with my weeding tool in my hand, but I use my fingers most of the time unless it's a really, really little area. And this goes really fast. I just kind of bend it slightly and try not to mess up my materials at all. I don't want to bend the actual holographic vinyl, but I can use the weeding tool like I'm doing here on the smaller pieces, and that helps so much with getting out that excess vinyl. So once we get it all out, I'm going to cut these pieces apart so we can lay it down on our tote bag the way it's supposed to be laid down. To complete this project, we are going to be utilizing the EasyPress 2, which is Cricut's heat transfer machine, and I am in love with it. Right here, I am showing you all the buttons on the top of it. They are all self-explanatory. We have the on-off switch, we have a temperature gauge, a time gauge, and the button that you're going to push that's all lit in red there when you're going to use your machine. Now, in order to figure out what temperature you need for this, you're going to use Cricut's heat guide for their EasyPress. And you find that in Cricut Design Space. You just go to EasyPress, scroll down, and you have your heat guide. What you need to do on here is to pick which machine you're using, and I'm using the EasyPress 2, so it's underlined there. Then what kind of material you're putting down. I'm using holographic material, and what you're putting it on, I'm putting it on a tote bag. And then you're going to say whether or not you're using the Cricut mat. I am using the Cricut mat, and so I check that and hit apply, and voila, it tells me I need to do it for 330 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 seconds, and to flip the bag over and do it for 15 seconds after. It lets me know what supplies I need and everything in order to complete my project. So my machine is heating up here, and while it's doing that, I'm going to cut out my vinyl and put it on my tote bag in the order that I need it to be. And now that we have it all cut out and laid out, I'm going to put some like butcher paper on top of it to protect it. And I'm going to lift my machine straight up and put it straight down on top of my project. Now my project is rather large, so you can see that I had to pick it up and move it after the first set of heating for 30 seconds and do it on the bottom. And the sides were a little long, so I'm also doing it on either side extra 30 seconds just to make sure that the whole thing is adhere. And I'm not putting it in the middle where I already heated it before. Now to start it, you press the little green button and it just goes, and then you pick it straight up and take it off. But you guys know me, I'm a little extra, or a lot extra, and so you're supposed to flip the bag over and heat it on the back for 15 seconds to make sure everything is working really well. But I am going to put another saying on the back of my bag, and that's what we're doing here. It's the same material, and I cut it out just like the other one, and so now I'm flipping my bag over to the back, and I'm going to put Forever bag with a little butterfly on the back. I figured either way I pick up this bag and I carry it in the store, it will say something cute. And so here we go again. I place down my EasyPress straight down, making sure not to drag it so I don't move my project, and press the green button, and then I heated it twice because my project was rather large. And then you want to let it cool completely. I know this looks like I just pulled it off right away, but I let this cool for 40 minutes to make sure that it was nice and adhere, and it will be really hot, so be really careful. Do not peel it off too soon. But look at how cute this is, and I love it, and I'm very sorry that my camera is not doing it justice at all. These colors are so vibrant and so pretty. It goes from like a really vibrant pink into more of a purple, and then there's greens and there's blues. I wish you could see it in person. In the sunlight, it will be phenomenal. So now we're going on to project number 3, and this is our final project. For this project, we're going to be using the Cricut coasters. These are coaster blanks. We're going to be using some Infusible ink paper. I also have Infusible ink markers here, but I did not end up using them. Sorry, I had an issue with them, but we're going to try again later with that. We have a glass, actual little vase from Dollar Tree, and some of their cork adhesive, I guess it is. So I made this design again. This is a little flower with an A in the middle for my granddaughter Adrian. I know everything is kind of for my granddaughter Adrian. On this project with the Infusible ink, we do need to use a mat. So we picked with a mat here, and I am going to mirror this project because it does have a letter on it. If it was just a flower, I wouldn't bother because it's pretty uniform all around. Now the Infusible ink comes in this little bag, as you can see, and it's a little lighter than what it looks like on the box. Don't worry, the heat makes it more vibrant when you go to use it. And it stays in the bag just to make sure that the light doesn't get to it and damage it. And they give you butcher paper to go along with it, and this dust-free cloth, so you can clean off your coasters with it. So now for this, we are going to go in and we want to pick Infusible ink, and we are going to print off our picture. Now, I did have a little trouble with this. I'm not going to lie. This is the very first time I've ever used Infusible ink. So when I went to pull it off my mat and I had it upside down to peel the mat back, the whole project stuck to the mat and didn't come off. So luckily, I have the Cricut tools, and so I just used my little scraper tool and I got up under there and I pulled off the project. Now normally you'd have a big thing of tape on the back or whatever to be able to put this down. You don't want to put transfer tape on top of this because this is Infusible ink. You want the purple side to be down on your coaster. So I looked up my heat settings for this, and this is supposed to be 400 degrees at 240 for the seconds. So I put all of that in, and I'm letting my machine warm up, and then I put down a piece of cardstock because we are actually going to be taking the coaster and turning it upside down on the mat, and we don't want to damage the mat or the coaster. And I took some heat transfer tape, which I'm sorry I didn't show you guys, but Cricut has, and put it on my design on the coaster, and the coaster will face down. And then I'm putting down my machine, no pressure needed, and I'm letting it do its full cycle, pulling it back off and putting it on the mat, and I'm going to leave that sit there to cool down. It is extremely hot. I do not suggest you touch it at all. It is so hot. Wait for it to cool down. And what I'm doing now is taking the glass, turning it upside down on this cork mat that they have at Dollar Tree. It's self-adhesive on the back. I already had some open, and so I'm using the scraps that I had, and I'm cutting out 2 circles in this that are about the size of the top of the glass. I'm actually going to cut them down smaller than the top of the glass. So now I'm going to take the adhesive off of one of them and stick it to the top of the other one to make it twice as thick. And I'm going to press it down really well all the way around. And then after I get that down, I'm going to make sure that it's still the size of the glass. And then I'm going to cut off a little bit all the way around, trying to make it the same thickness that I'm cutting off. I'm doing this so it will go just inside of the glass. And remember, the bottom one still has the adhesive pad on it, so it should be pretty easy to do. I don't want to cut off too much of it. I just want to cut off enough that the glass will basically sit on it and it will be inside of it. Now, here's my project. It is all cooled. I let this cool for a very long time, probably an hour. And then I took off the heat transfer tape and peeled off the little extra paper that's on there. And look at how vibrant that is. So now I'm going to take my cork pieces and I'm going to stick it to the back side of this coaster. Now you can do this with just one if you want to make a coaster that's not going to scratch anything, but I put 2 on there because I want it to actually be the lid to this glass and for it not to fall off. So look here, I'm shaking it and it doesn't fall off. It's a perfect little lid. So Adrienne can have some treats inside of it if she likes. I have these jelly beans and I thought it'd be really, really cute. But you can use this for so many different things. She can put hair ties in there or little pieces of jewelry. She collects like little Shopkin toys. Those would fit in there. There's no telling what you can do with this. And this little jar came from Dollar Tree. And these coasters will fit on several different jars at Dollar Tree. So you don't even have to get this one. You could also use some extra vinyl and put their full name across the front or some other kind of design, but I thought that was simple enough. So that is it for this video. I want to thank Cricut so much for sponsoring this video, and I want to thank all of you out there for watching, liking, and always sharing my videos. I'm going to be linking Cricut's website down below where you can purchase the Cricut Joy or the EasyPress 2 or any of their other machines that they have, because they have a wide variety for everyone's price range. I will be linking the Joy and the EasyPress 2 specifically separate also for you guys. So which one of these projects was your favorite? I have to tell you, mine was the welcome sign. I just think it's so whimsical and I love how it turned out. Though I love all of the projects, and the forever bag is so special. I'm thinking about getting like a keychain with some food related items on it and clipping it onto one of the straps of the bags, and maybe even seeing if I can find some kind of ribbon with food on it to make a little bow to go along with it, because you guys know I'm extra. And the little jars are so cute and will make perfect gifts, and you can personalize them to the person that you are giving them to. So that is it. I want to thank you guys again for watching, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye, loves.